On this week's video, we are checking out an unusual one. We're checking out Joyride, which, yeah, I was kind of surprised was a franchise. I know I had heard of these, but believe it or not, I had never seen any of these. So I figured it was time to jump in. Enough people have recommended them, and I've had several requests to do them, so it seemed about time to do so. Let's dive into the world of Rusty Nail and try and figure out whether there's any continuity whatsoever. And that's a good 10-4 on that, good buddy, or some CB reference, whatever. We're trucking back to 2001 for Joyride, which was a weird turn for director John Dahl, who had previously done several acclaimed films like Red Rock West, The Last Seduction, and Rounders. And then he just does this little horror film, and then moved on to directing tons and tons of television. It's got the late Paul Walker in it, who is talking to his girlfriend on the phone at what is said to be 3 o'clock in the morning, and his roommate is upset because it's 3 o'clock in the morning, and this dude's just chatting away, talking gossip and not even whispering. When he complains, and complains nicely, and says he has a final in the morning, Douche Lewis here tosses him a Discman. Hey asshole! He's not trying to listen to some Smash Mouth. He's trying to get some sleep. College roommates, I tell ya, right here I'm hoping that his character is killed. His girlfriend is pod person Helen Hunt, and he had this plane ticket that was issued on December of 1999. It expires in October of 2001, and the flight is on April 12th, which means that this can only be set in either 2000 or 2001. He sells it and buys a car to drive back home, but ends up picking up his brother, and he confusingly signs this document saying that he will appear in court on June 6th, 1999. So hey, there's a misprint somewhere, either on that ticket or this one, but just for simplicity's sake, let's set it in early 2000. Oh, and his brother is Steve Zahn, and can we talk about him for a minute? Because there was a point in time where you could not go to the movies without seeing him. He was everywhere, in everything, and then he just sort of slid into smaller niche things. Like, he's still out there, but you didn't have to seek him out. It didn't used to be that way. Zahn used to find you. They get a CB radio and end up talking to someone named Rusty Nail, and they set him up to go to someone else's hotel room as a prank. It ends up with the guy in that room in a coma, but Rusty's found them and toys with them, but then seemingly lets them go. They pick up Venna, and there's some love triangle problems, most of which were cut from the movie, but old RN is still stalking them. And you know, he's not credited, but that voice is unmistakable, and it's Buffalo Bill himself, Ted Levine. Venna is kidnapped, but when we get to see him, it's not Levine playing his physical self, and Fuller is injured. The police show up, and after trying to ram them, the Nail is seemingly killed. He's not, though, and he's still out there. There were actually several alternate ending shots, all of which ended in Rusty getting either caught or killed, including one where his truck is blown up. Joyride, well, wasn't really a big hit, but it did make some money, and I figure someone thought it was enough of a notable title that 7 years later, in 2008, Joyride 2: Dead Ahead was released. Directed by Louis Murnau, who made the extremely memorable Carnosaur 2, Bats, and the similarly belated sequel, The Hitcher 2, it kicks off with a prostitute getting in a truck with Rusty Nail, who is now voiced by a sound-alike, like it's almost Ted Levine. But come on, no one else sounds like that. There's a young couple driving to Vegas to get married, along with the sister of the bride and her online boyfriend. They decide to take the back roads and, like clockwork, break down, so they find an old house with a car that they take with the intention of returning it once they get to safety. Of course, it's RN's place, and oh my god, the character of Nick here is just one of those annoying movie characters that is literally only written to piss everyone off and hope that he's the first one killed. Bobby gets kidnapped and starts toying with them and giving them directions, eventually tricking them, of course.
Yeah, you heard me. Circus boobs.
And forcing them into several compromising situations, and eventually ups the ante and starts to kill them off. Then it turns into some sort of Saw thing where he forces the boys to play a torture game and kills Nick. Melissa shows up to save Bobby, but does everyone's favorite movie move of knock out the bad guy and have a very clear shot to kill him, but instead run off and leave him lying there. He's alive, of course, and they face off in his truck, which goes over a cliff, seemingly killing the Nail. But then a final scene lets us know that he's not only alive, but has a new truck. There's no date in this one, so we'll just go ahead with real-time 08. It was another 6 years before a third entry would arrive with Joyride 3 Roadkill, now handled by Declan O'Brien, who I just covered with Sharktopus, and he's the guy who gave us half of the Wrong Turn movies. The rough half. And there's some junkies in a hotel room that end up talking to Rusty Nail. Her name's Candy, and he says he knew a candy cane once, a reference to the first movie, and it's very clear from the voice that our trucker has been recast again. He's the replacement Jason now, and after 2 movies of keeping him hidden in the shadows, they pretty much are just like, well, here he is now. His transformation into a Jigsaw-like guy, I guess, is complete now because he sets up a complicated death trap for them. And then there's a couple of race car drivers and their crew, and they're headed to a big race and decide to take a shortcut along a road, of course, named Slaughter Alley. And of course, they encounter a familiar truck. They manage to piss him off, and he tracks their plates and sees that they're headed to the rally, which it says is in September of 2014, so that's our year, which means that our boy has been at large for 14 years now, and just seems to be getting younger as time goes on. He starts antagonizing the crew, kidnaps one of the girls, and starts killing off the others, mostly in head-crushing manners. The police get involved finally, and there's a final face-off in a junkyard where they manage to put his truck in a crusher and appear to finally kill him. But of course, when the cops show up, there's no body to be found. He's shown to still be loose, but there has yet to be any further entries to date. So there you have it. It's 3 movies, just 3 movies that I guess have a continuity. They're not really linked together. Outside of the character of Rusty Nail, there's really no connections. There's the mention of Candy Cane in the third one, but that's about it. Each one of these is kind of its own thing, loosely connected to the previous. You don't have to have seen any of the other movies to watch any one of them in any order. And yeah, the first movie is actually pretty well done. It's a pretty well shot movie. The acting's good, story's fine. It's nothing great, but it's certainly not bad. The other 2 are just kind of standard, straight-to-video, mid-2000s horror movies. They feel sort of like Saw-ish. Just everybody getting killed left and right with no remorse. Mostly characters that you do not care about seeing die. Just that typical era of filmmaking. Not really my favorite of things, but they weren't unwatchable. They're not terrible movies. Not mad at having watched them, but wasn't particularly happy about it either. I don't know if you disagree. If you like these, let me know down in the comments below. Please let me know how you. What do you think of Rusty Nail's film journey of Benjamin Button style that it is? Put that in the comments. If you enjoyed this video, please hit the like button. If you like what you see on the channel, of course, hit the subscribe button because you're not going to want to miss any of the cool videos I have coming your way. You could also go to patreon.com/movietimelines and help to support the channel. These guys do over here, and I would appreciate it if you guys would as well, too. It's kind of fun, and, you know, it's pretty cheap. So you can do that. And yeah, otherwise I'll see you very shortly for another great video. Thanks a lot, guys. Bye-bye.